Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to the Bad League, Bad Pods podcast. I am Zach Fuller and I'm here with two of the bad mods of this league, Judd King and Ben Dunn. How are we doing, Ben?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
Living the dream. And we are joined by Judd this week. What's going on, Judd?
Not a whole lot. Just avoiding the sprinkles.
Yeah,
Sprinkles, huh? You got a little weather up there?
we're getting a little weather down here too.
Yucky.
Off and on.
Yeah,
Pretty
well,
nice up here.
we had a race at Darlington last night. It was probably one of my more favorite races of the season, so I can do mine last. But let's go in reverse finishing order. I think Ben, you unfortunately slid down there
Ugh.
to eighth, so you can go ahead with yours.
Yeah.
How was your race?
Frustrating to say the least. Just by the way that it ended. I ran a really, really, really good race. I feel like I had a good feel for the track. I love this track. It's
It's
one of my
awesome.
favorites and one of the ones I feel really confident at anytime we go to. So to go out there, I felt good in practice. And at the early points of the race, I felt really, really strong. Felt like I had a good car. I was running up there. I was kind of just, I think I was running like third or fourth at one point, and I'm just staying with the people in front of me without really trying or pushing. And I mean, I'm sure they were kind of doing the same thing I was, but it felt good to kind of hang right there with the guys and know that I had a lot left that I could have spent. Everything went good. The pit stop, we had our green flag pit stop. I think everything went well there, and then just for some reason, I don't know what it was, but once the sun started to set, like I guess it was just how I drove the track or whatnot. But once the sun started to go down, I really, really struggled. I don't know what was causing me those struggles, but the car really wasn't feeling the same. I started to kind of move around and try some different lines to gain some time. I was at a point where we came out of the pits. I was losing Christian. I came out right behind Christian. He and I was hoping we were gonna have a good race. I was losing to Christian, and then I'm losing to Jack, who's on older tires than me. So I start searching, trying to find some speed in different parts, different lines, and wound up putting myself on the wall and giving myself some wheel damage for the last 15 laps or so, and then really just struggled to bring the car home. I mean, I was almost at a 90-degree lock in turn 3 and 4, just trying to get the car around the track at the end. So I wound up losing like 3-4 spots. Once that happened, I think I was in fourth once I got into the wall, and I fell all the way to eighth. So frustrating. I always hate complaining about a top 10, but just frustrating night after what I felt was like a really, really good night and a good race for me. Just kind of turned into a mediocre night and a eighth place finish. So yeah, nothing too exciting, but just screwing myself there and disappointed with it at a track that I feel really good at.
Yeah, your average running position was 3.7. You spent a good amount of time there in second in that early stint, kind of behind me, where you and I were just kind of chilling, maintaining about a second gap, and then
Yeah, we were
it seemed
running like the same laps, man. It felt
yeah,
really good.
it seemed like just after that pit stop, it kind of just went away, and especially once the lights came on.
Yeah, like I said, once the sun set, I don't know what it was that changed, but usually I feel like I'm pretty good at adapting to that kind of stuff. But last night I just couldn't. Like I said, I don't know if it was the line I was running or what, but I couldn't get a handle on the car after the track started to cool off or the sun went down. So just frustrating, but good to learn going forward that sometimes I can't always adapt like that, and I need to be a little better and practice some more lines. I think it it probably didn't help that I practiced my one line that I was quick at and my tire saving line, and didn't really have much else in the holster as far as lines to run to try and gain some speed. So I was searching for it in the middle of the race, which is definitely not a good thing.
Yeah, well, a pretty good race overall, but obviously didn't get the finish you needed.
Hmm.
And then we can go to Judd, which I felt like Judd, you kind of made a mistake early, and then I didn't even realize you finished fifth, which is a pretty damn good recovery. I feel like. How was your race?
Sorry, what was that for?
Oh, just how was your race?
Um, it was okay. I mean, I was up there with you guys after qualifying in that first 25 lap run, and we pit under that caution where Cody and Christian got together off of 4 and lost a couple spots, or 3 spots if you count Roten, who took fuel only. And I got loose off of 2 on the restart and collected Roten, and myself had 3.5 minutes of damage, and kind of never totally recovered from that. I mean, I still finished fifth thanks to Ben's problem at the end, but the car was fine after we took the fast repair during the green flag stops, but I just never got the track position back.
Yeah, you went up there and led a few laps early on, so I think Jack mentioned that y'all were doing some practice earlier in the week, and I felt like it definitely paid off with the speed you had early. But yeah, just that incident, the incident with you and Roten there on that restart, kind of set you back. You did have
Bailed Roten out.
what'd you say?
I said it bailed Roten out with his strategy of
Oh yeah,
only taking fuel on that first stop. Definitely helped him.
yeah. In the moment, it did. He still came home ninth, but um, Judd, you did get the most total passes of the race, so that
Ooh,
is
Happens when you
hey.
restart last a couple times.
yeah, that'll happen.
Yeah.
We did have some post race interviews, so we will roll into that on the pod. So here's a few guys that Aaron was kind enough to grab an interview with after the race.
Roden, this is Aaron up in the booth. You got a copy?
Hello.
Hey, what's up with that pit strategy there? You saw a 7-second stop time.
I may or may not. I mean, we're just trying to get as much fuel as possible in the car. Try and one stop it.
Oh, just topped it up. Did you get tires with it?
No tires.
Oh.
That was the strategy the whole time. Definitely didn't forget to check my tires before I went on pit road. That definitely wasn't what happened.
All right. Well, hopefully you guys have a good race for the rest of this race. There's a lot to go. So.
No, thank you.
All right. Here I am with Ben Dunn. That was kind of disappointing race for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, dude, it sucked. I hate to complain about, a top 10, but it sucked. Where did I finish? 8th. Terrible. Terrible. Had top 3 card, and I ran into the wall and finished 8th. Yeah, shit was cool. Yeah, sick time.
Yeah. I noticed you were up there. There was quite a bit of times where you were racing. I don't want to say for the lead, but you're racing like top 3 at least. And just what happened? You want to take us through that?
Yeah. I was coming off turn 2. Once the sun went down, I don't know, the way I was driving the track just didn't work as the track cooled off. So I was trying new things and trying to find different, find some speed. I was trying some different lines, and I made a mistake coming out of 2 and smacked the wall hard enough. It gave me wheel damage, and that fucker it was bad the rest of the time. It was almost undrivable by the end of the race. So it sucks. Like I said, I just drove a really good car. I had a good night. I love this track. I felt faster than 4 guys that were ahead of me. So
a disappointment end for Ben Dunn in the 4 car there. It looked like you had the pace. And
yeah, shout out Chipotle. They roll them fat. Big bowls and fat rolls. Let's go, Chipotle.
Well, best of luck to you at Iowa next week.
Thanks, brother.
Here we are with 3rd place finisher Jack. How did that race go for you? How do you feel you did?
Well, there's some bonehead that's on the pit box for the 56 car that decided having only one set of tires was a good idea. So that was kind of a frustrating day. Kind of figured we were going to get one more caution somewhere in that 118 laps or whatever we ran, but we didn't. But ultimately, recovering to P3 isn't a bad day for how hairy that was looking at some point. So, I don't know. I'll say this. I'm excited to get to Iowa, and congrats to Fuller here in a really good race.
Yeah. You were pretty dominant that race. It seemed like you were battling towards the front most of it. Was it just the tire strategy that messed you up there?
Oh, absolutely. I feel like if I would have just pitted when the others pitted, or I took or I got a caution or whatever right back in the game, I don't think it was a pace issue. I think it was just taking tires at a bad time, and I caught a bad break because you saw at the end of some of these races how having that one extra set laying is kind of what determines if you're going to finish in the back or in the front. So kind of figured we were going to get one more, and we didn't. So goes your way some days, doesn't go your way others. So like I said, P3 in a bad day is a lot more things to be upset about than that, and just want to go back to Iowa so I can get back on a win.
All right. Well, best of luck to you in the future, and best of luck at Iowa.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Hey, Christian, this is Aaron at the booth. You got coffee?
Yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah, okay, that was a good race. You got finished in second place. Anything to say?
I mean, tires were key.
That's pretty much it. Yeah, I mean, I saw you were catching Zac at the end there. What was that like?
Challenging. Tires were challenging to control. It was just trying to manage that while also keeping Fuller honest and trying to make him push into mistakes.
And see, so is this going to be more to come later on? Do you think this can carry over to next week?
Depends. I don't even remember. We're at Iowa next week, aren't we? Maybe. Depends on how much the tire wear is there.
All right. Well, thanks for interviewing me, or me interviewing you. All right, we're here with the race winner,
Yeah.
Zachary Fuller. What do you got to say about that win? How was the car?
Car was great, man. I feel like after pitting there at the early caution, that pretty much put us in a good spot. I know Drucker and Combs stayed out, so that kind of ruined their night. They probably would have been up there battling with me at the end, but yeah, it was good on the long run, a little bit tight, but I feel like a lot of people were battling kind of a looser condition, so I was just really cruising for most of it and looking after the tires, and yeah, it worked out.
I saw Christian was making up time there at the end. Was he putting the pressure on you?
Yeah, definitely. I think we were talking about it in the quiet channel, and he was racing around Jack and Ben, and they were kind of saying that he was going pretty hard on the last run. So I knew if I just kind of stuck to the plan and saved the stuff and keep running consistent lap times, I would probably have enough to beat him there at the end. And I felt like he was really fast in 3 and 4, which was the corner I was probably saving more at. And then in 1 and 2, I would always kind of be a little bit better on exit. So he would gain a little bit here, and I'd get it back. But yeah, he was definitely keeping me honest there at the end.
Yeah, it was a good win and good dominant performance. Do you think this will carry over into Iowa next week?
I hope so, man. I kind of Iowa was kind of a heartbreaker for me last season with that internet disconnection. I felt like I had a shot to win there, but it obviously didn't come off. So yeah, obviously it's good to defend the win here at Darlington because I won it last season, but Iowa was definitely one that got away. So yeah, hopefully we can carry it over.
All right. Well, best of luck to you in the future, and a good race today.
Appreciate it, buddy.
Interview myself.
Hey, Aaron. Looks like that was a pretty good race watching. How do you feel about the competition next week? Because you are going to make your return to your home track of Iowa. How do you feel about that?
Well, first off, I just want to say thank you for that great question. You are a very, very handsome reporter, but I think my return, it'll be nice, kind of doing like the Bill Elliott or the Terry Labonte, coming back every so often. Coming back to Iowa would be nice to change the pace. I really enjoy that track. It's a nice track. It's not just my home track. It's a fun track to do. I remember racing there in 3 and 4. It can get really tricky. 1 and 2 is really fun. I love those corners, that series. I feel like you can dive it in depending on the car setup and how the car feels and everything. But I feel confident going into it, and I miss racing with these guys. These guys are fun.
Well, first off, thanks for that compliment. That was very. Thank you. I think you're a very good looking dude. Probably the best looking racer out here. Um, you've watched this competition all season now from up in the booth. How do you feel like that's going to translate on for you onto the track?
Well, thank you for that. Saying I'm the best looking guy, because it's true. I've watched these guys race all season, and I think kind of watching some of their moves. Granted, I haven't been able to watch all of them because I've been mostly focused on crashes. But I think I can see some of their moves and like how they plan out their attack and what drivers like to do a long strategy, what drivers like to save their tires, what drivers like to use their tires. And I think that might come into play for me because I've been able to watch the whole field all season, not just a select group of people like these people have.
Well, Aaron, thank you for that interview. I think you're going to do great at Iowa. So best of luck to you.
Thank you. I love you.
All right, so hopefully you enjoyed those interviews. We didn't listen to any of them, so I don't have any elaboration
I
on it.
assume there was some. I assume there was some good and some bad. I think you were interviewed and I was interviewed, so that's just lovely. I'm sure that was very positive. Two ends of the spectrum there for sure.
I'm looking forward to hearing yours.
Yeah, I was super happy. I was
Yeah.
pumped.
But let's get into our top 5. Oh no, I didn't even go over my race. Yeah, well
I mean,
this is the
not
this
a whole lot
works
to
out.
talk about, huh?
No, not really. I mean, early on I started third, and I was kind of chilling in third, and then I saw Judd make the move on Jack, and I was like, okay, well I don't really want to be in third behind Jack. I want to have him behind me if I can. So kind of pushed a little bit to get in front of Jack, and then Judd, I don't know if you like. I don't know if when I passed you initially, I felt like you were kind of letting me by there, or I don't know if you were kind of starting to feel the tires or what, but got around Judd probably on like, I don't know, lap 15 or something, and got the lead there. And then the caution come out, I think on like lap 20, and I felt like it was a no-brainer for everybody to pit there. Just being 20 lap tires, it was kind of a short race, 128 laps, so I felt like that was deep enough into the race to justify using a set. But Drucker and Combs disagreed. They stayed out, which I felt like if the race ended up going the way that it did, then that was going to be, it was going to be, a pretty solid result for me. And it ended up going green. Drucker still came back to finish 8 seconds behind me, which before that green flag pit stop, he was 12 seconds behind. So if it was a longer race with another pit stop, who knows? Maybe he can get back up there. But it was a hell of a drive for him to stay, in third on that strategy.
A really good pit stop too, because I came in with you, and I mean, I was not that far. Right at the end of the run, I started to kind of lose the car, and Christian got by me, and I pit when you pit, and I think I was like 3 seconds behind you, and I came out, and you had increased that gap quite a bit, and by the time I cycled around to Christian, like him and I were right next to each other, but you had increased the gap quite a bit, so you had a really good on and off pit road, I think, as well. That definitely helped buy you a little extra time as well. That was huge for you. I felt like you had a really, really good green flag pit stop at a track where that's really hard to do.
Yeah. And I didn't practice a whole lot of pit entries, so I almost sped on pit road. I mean, I was under the speed limit, but it was close. And then I mean, the whole race pretty much was just driving at about 70-75% of my probably pace that I could do, just trying to look after the tires. I mean, I was lifting super early on the backstretch. I feel like 3 and 4 is the corner, at least for me, where I use the tires up, more than they should generally at Darlington.
Especially that entry to 3.
Yeah.
You get such a huge runoff 2, and then you got to use the brakes getting into 3. So you really got to respect that right front.
Yeah.
On entry to 3.
Yeah, the right front was definitely my excuse me, my biggest issue. I know some people were struggling with the right rear, which I never really overheated it. I feel like throughout the race, but the right front was definitely my issue. But I had an awesome line through 3 and 4 that I was running that was keeping the tires on it, and I can get a really good exit off of 4, and that was my advantage over Christian. I felt like because he would gain on entry and on both ends of the track, and then I would just kind of shoot off of the exit, and it ended up working out. Led a lot of laps, and it's been a while since I've won on an oval, so I don't like being like a road course guy. I want to be good at every track,
Yeah, of
and
course.
it's definitely feels good to win on an oval, especially one like Darlington where you really gotta manage your stuff. But yeah, let's talk about the rest of our top 5. Christian had like an amazing
Great,
race.
great
I feel
race.
like
Yeah, great race.
he drove up through the field during that first sort of long run and got up to second, and then yeah, throughout that last stint, I think he did. You say he pitted like a couple laps later than me?
Yeah, I think he was like 1 or 2 laps after us, I believe,
Hmm.
that we pit, and then, like I said, by the time that I came around after pit stops and everything cycled out, he came out just like right in front of me, and then he took off. I'm guessing, I don't know for sure, but I'm guessing he probably saw tire wear and was like, okay, I can afford to go a little harder on this run because he definitely went after you
Yeah,
on that second run to try and get to you using those extra couple laps he had. Um, I think he definitely made a run for it and had a good run, had a good chance to get up there. Just unfortunately, kind of ran out of time.
yeah. He brought the gap down to 2 seconds at one point, and I think that was um he was obviously pushing probably a little bit harder than I was, but I was having a tough time getting through some of the traffic. Um,
Yeah,
just with letting people by and some people coming through on new tires, traffic in both ways, right? Like I was passing people, they were passing me, so that was slowing me down a bit, but it kind of equalized out to the gap that it was at 3 seconds at the end. So um, yeah, but he was coming all race, and yeah, I mean just a hell of a drive. I mean it was going to take one slip up from me, and he was going to win that race. He was right there. And then we had Jack in third. Just I mean Jack doing Jack things on the wrong strategy still comes home third.
yeah, that was good stuff. That was he was good. I know that towards the end of that first run, I mean, even on his much older tires, he was still managing to hang, right with where we kind of were with lap times. Even though you and I were just kind of cruising, he was still hanging right around that, which was kind of a sign to me that he was going to have something after green flag pit stops, regardless of his strategy, because he was able to kind of maintain the car for so long. But yeah, a great race by him. Took a risk on strategy and still managed to get out of there. Finishing where he did is that's tough to do.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people can pull that off. So just a phenomenal drive by him, like we've seen all season. And another pole in the books for Jack, which was
Yep.
another common theme of the season. But yeah, just a great drive. I mean, there was a point where before I got myself into the wall, I mean, I was having a hard time on newer tires than him. I was having a hard time getting to him because he was just running such consistent and you know good laps that it just made things tough for me trying to get to him there. And like I said, I was on much newer tires, so just all around great drive by him.
Yeah, like you said, another pole. That's his. Are you are you ready for this? That's his 8th pole of the season
Jeez.
through 11 points races, and the other two were Owen at Martinsville and Zach Tyler at Daytona. So
Wow.
yeah, he's
Insane.
and myself at Chicago, but yeah, that's he's obviously got something figured out in qualifying. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
then we had Donnelly in 4th. It looks like I don't know, Judd. Were you racing around Donnelly much throughout the race, or was that kind of you just kind of finished near each other?
Yeah, kind of just finished near each other.
Okay, well, yeah, I'm
I
not.
was racing around him. That's what I always do.
Yeah, right. You and
Yeah.
Donnelly spend a lot of time close to each other on the track. I think early on in that first run, actually, he was in between you and I, Ben, and he was pressuring me for the lead, but
Hmm.
kind of fell off a little bit, probably like 20 or 30 laps into that run, and then still comes home 5th. I mean, I did the stats before the race yesterday, and he had some good finishes and some fastest laps at Darlington. So just
Yeah,
just
he's been
another
sneaking
solid
into
day.
top fives. He's been sneaking into top fives all season, just putting consistent runs together and being really strong. Yeah, like I said, him and I we were swapping spots for a while there because he'd make a mistake off 4, I'd make a mistake off 2. We'd continue to pass each other back and forth, and then eventually I got in front of him when I was following you and was able to kind of build a gap there. And then I didn't see him again until I broke my car, and then just I wasn't putting up a fight with anybody really once
Right.
they got to me. So that was the last I saw of him. He went by and then just went about his way. But yeah, just a solid run. And like I said, he's been sneaking these top fives all season, and just being in the right place, right time, and having good finishes because of it.
Yeah, and on the topic of you two racing around each other for most of the season, y'all are only separated by 4 points
Yeah, that checks out. Yeah,
in the standings.
feels
So
that way every time I'm around him. Yeah.
yeah, so
But it's always good, clean race. And I think I got into him a little bit last night. At one point, we went to 1 and 2
oh
side by
yeah,
side.
I did see that in the
It's
mirror.
tough. It's so tough sometimes to go in there side by side, and
Yeah.
I was trying my best to keep it down there while also trying to get the best line possible. And I think I got in his door a little bit, but yeah, it may have been another reason why he got absolutely zero fight from me, whereas anyone else, I might have given like 2% of an effort to people
Yeah.
trying to pass me when I was broken, um, but yeah, just a good solid race for him, and yeah, it feels that way that we're right around each other in points because we've been right around each other all season. But it's always fun. I like racing. It's Donnelly. It's always good, clean stuff.
Yeah, definitely. And then Judd King in 5th, just a
You're welcome.
grinder of a day. Um, yeah, Judd, do you have any other elaboration on kind of how you ended up still coming back to 5th?
No, not really. I mean, I kind of put it all out there when you asked me about my day, but
Yeah.
I think I was the last one to pit. I don't really know if that had anything to do with finishing 5th or 6th, but
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, you stayed out. I thought you were just gonna just stay out as long as you can and hope for a caution, but it
That's right. I
ended up
remember someone
working out.
saying that.
Yeah.
The caution.
Yeah. Well.
yeah, well, it would have been nice, but
Yeah, definitely. I think a few people would have definitely benefited a lot from the caution. And I was thinking about that. If the caution came out, I don't really know if I would have been able to hang on because all the practice I did was long run stuff. So I didn't really, I didn't really have a good understanding of how to make speed on a short run. I feel like, but we'll never know. So
I
and
was
it
at a
is
I
hard to
was at a
pass. So
point where like I was at a point towards the end where I was very neutral on a caution coming out because obviously I had some time to make up. I was happy with where I was running, so I wasn't gonna, I was gonna be a little upset if a caution came out just because I had worked for all that good track position before I
yeah,
hurt my car, and but at the same time, I wouldn't have been upset. Again, this is all pre-damaging the car. Obviously, post-damaging the car, I wanted a caution immediately.
yeah,
But before that, I was kind of like I said, I was neutral. I was not going to be upset, but um, because I felt like I did have some good short run speed. I felt like on our restarts, our start of the race and our restart, I felt like I had some moves that I could have made if it was a little later in the race. Something moves I didn't try early on just because I didn't want to, put myself or anyone else at risk. But something I may have been a little more willing to try had the situation arose where I felt like I could have gained some track position. So I was kind of down the middle on a caution late. Like I said before, I hit the wall after I got the wheel damage. I was like, give me all the cautions, please,
yeah.
as much as possible.
Get that fast repair and fix it.
Yeah, give me tires and fast repair, and I feel like I got a chance to get back up where I felt like I should have finished.
Yeah, well let's jump into the points here. We've got 8 races to go, and Jack Drucker leads by 50 in the drop week standings. It's a great position for him to be in, and then especially with Dylan missing this race for whatever reason, that kind of moves Dylan, further down the order. He's 35 points behind me, which is a huge jump.
Yeah,
Because we were tied going into this, so I think at this point, I mean, unless Dylan literally wins like 4 of the next 8, it's probably just me and Jack, and even still, it's probably really just Jack with a 50-point advantage. So I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
pretty much outscore him in every race of the season to even have a shot. But yeah, we had a few jumps in the standings. I think Christian jumped up to 5th. What catches y'all's eye here in the standings?
It's still for me. It's that midfield. The fourth to 12th is just so tight. I mean, every week I feel like we're talking it's 5th to 8th. It's 5th to 11th, and now it's expanded even more. It's 4th to 12th.
Yeah,
You know, you got Owen sitting there in 4th, but Christian's only 5 points behind him. You know, Combs only 3 points behind Christian. And then there's a little bit of a gap to Donnelly there, but still, I mean, it's 13 points. It's you know, one good finish and for Donnelly and uh, Christian and Brandon not having that great of races, and all of a sudden Donnelly's closed that gap. Sitting there only 4 behind Donnelly, and then behind us we got Perry, who has missed the last couple, but he comes back and gets a good run in, and he can get right back to where he was of scoring good
yeah,
points and good races, and then Judd's climbing the leaderboard, 10th in the points, only 3 behind Perry. So the 4th to 10th is awesome. Roten's hanging on there behind Judd, and then Austin. Hopefully he comes back soon as well, and can get back to scoring some points and really mixing up this midfield. I think it's a good tight battle. It's a lot of single digit gaps, and still a lot of racing left. So it's I'm going to be keeping my eye on that, and as well as doing work myself to try and gain some point spots.
yeah, definitely. I mean, I didn't even realize the that kind of Owen is now sort of in that midfield.
Yeah,
You would say,
yeah,
right, with 161 points, only only 35 ahead of, or is that math right? only 25 points ahead of you, Ben, in 8th. So yeah, I think
yeah.
that battle for 4th is going to heat up, and I mean, I don't really expect Dylan to miss any more races, but he only has 1 point that he's dropping. So if he misses any races or finishes in a lower spot and gets 0 points, I mean, he could even be dragged into that, just
Yeah,
with
you're
the
right.
point situation that he's in. So yeah, it's the midfield is certainly tightening up.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I think this is one of the closer that we've had throughout the field in a long time. We've had a couple seasons where the up top is really close. Maybe like 2nd through 4th is really close, but this is the first time that I can remember we really had such a tight battle through the middle, where it's really going to be heavy on good point finishes on the way out from here in these last 8 races, and we got a good lineup of tracks uh, to, to set the stage for that. So it's gonna be exciting. I'm excited to see how everyone finishes. Some guys usually check out on points at this time because when you look at those spreads, they're not as tight as they are. But
Mm-hmm.
we got a lot of tight point spreads all throughout. That I mean, I could even go down to 15th, at talking points, and you know, say that any of these guys can make runs and have good finishes and climb up the points, you know, in a matter of just a couple races. So it's
Yeah,
gonna be really fun to keep an eye on.
definitely. And I mean, we've talked a lot over the past few weeks about Judd, your early season struggles. But just looking at kind of you've vaulted your way up here a little bit through the past few weeks up to 10th. Like what tracks are you looking at over these next 8 that you kind of got circled for maybe some good runs and get yourself up there maybe in the top, potentially in the top 5. I mean, we got 8 to go, so
Well, this week at Iowa,
yeah.
and then it's
Lost him.
feel like I could
Nope.
finish well there.
At Iowa, yeah.
Yeah, you average a 5.4 finishing position at Iowa, and your average running position is 4.4. So you've had good runs there, for sure. In the past, 2 top fives, 4 top tens, in 5 starts. So pretty solid at that track, and I know you run well there at that track just from my experience of racing with you. So I expect the bounce back to continue for sure.
Right.
Yeah, then we got Homestead, Watkins Glen, Pocono, Charlotte, Talladega, Richmond, Kansas. Just an awesome lineup. So
It really is.
I feel like, I mean, Homestead, Charlotte, and probably Richmond and Kansas. Those are, along with Iowa, are probably some pretty good tracks for you, Judd. So it can definitely turn
Absolutely.
around here. Let's go ahead
I'm
and
trying to pull.
go ahead.
I'm trying to pull up the schedule, see what else there is I'm missing.
Yeah. So from here on out, we got Iowa, Homestead, Watkins Glen, Pocono, Charlotte, Dega, and then we end with Richmond, Kansas. So
Yeah, I'd
pretty
say
good
those
little
2 or 3 tracks.
variety
But
too.
Yeah, definitely. We got.
I know you have a good handle on the Glen too, so that'll be a good, that could be a good run for you. Just go out and do what you do, and you can probably get yourself in top 5 there. So,
right.
yeah, so you got a good little spread of tracks coming up for you. And Dega, who knows? By the time we get there, that could be wild. Where points
Yeah.
are sitting, I'm excited for that.
Yeah, definitely with the midfield battle, and if I can try to pull Jack back into a little bit of a closer gap, Dega can definitely be a determining factor. It almost determined the championship last season when I had my freaking internet disconnect. So we will see. Let's go ahead and preview Iowa. I've got the Iowa stats up. Ben, what caught your eye with
I do as
just
well.
the overall short track stats? I think you said you had pulled up over there.
Yeah, so I was looking at just the Iowa stats, and it made me just kind of key into just short tracks in general, just to kind of look at some of our guys here who seem to perform well on those tracks. One thing for Iowa for sure that caught my attention is that there's a lot of guys through our six races that we've had there who have had some pretty good runs. Donnelly again, average
6
running or
different
average
winners.
finish. Yeah, you're right. That's wow. We don't have a multi winner at Iowa.
Yeah.
We've only had a bunch of one win people, which is interesting. I didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like one of the things like Donnelly's average finish there is a 4.2. He's solid. He averages running about 4th place, and it seems to have really good driver ratings as far as that goes there. So that's a track where, again, I look for him to be lurking around the top 5 and probably sneak into the top 5 and get a good finish there. He's got a win there as well.
Yeah.
So that's really good. Four top 10s in our 6 starts, and 3 of those top 10s are top 5. So that's, definitely someone that I'm going to look at, going forward there. I think Iowa is kind of like an anything could happen kind of track. It could be a mess. It could be a clean race. Could get some long runs. That would be, very. It could be all over the place. The guys you got to look at as far as just our short track drivers in general. Owen through 37 short track races, he averages finishing 3.1. So hopefully Owen will be back next week, and we'll get to see him come out and do what he does on the short tracks and perform really well. Could be a chance for him to win the streak. You never know. Fuller, you're also really good at these short tracks, averaging a 3.9 finish on the short tracks, which is, very good. Again, those are guys you can look at to finish in the top 5. Jack's only done 3, but he's averaging finishing 3.5. So that's another guy who, you just got to keep an eye on always, just how his season's going, but also just in general, he seems to be pretty good with the short tracks.
Yeah, and his average finishes are like at Martinsville, he led a lot of it and then kind of got caught up in some stuff. And then Bristol, he probably should have won that race, but picked the wrong strategy at the end, and then he ended up 7th or 8th or wherever he was. So he's definitely got a lot of speed on the short tracks. Yeah, I mean, I was a really fun track. It's an interesting short track, right? Because you kind of have options. You can run the bottom, you can run the top.
A lot of bumps if you go up top, for sure. It's a bumpy track. I think in 1 and 2, it's very bumpy.
In
up
1 and 2,
there.
it is. 3 and 4 is a little bit smoother, a little bit more of a natural like high lane, which I usually tend to sort of migrate towards. And then 1 and 2 is you can kind of depends on what part of the run you're in, if the high line's gonna work or not. But it seems like it's really different in every car. that we've done. Like in the ARCA car, it was different than the truck, and it'll definitely be different in Xfinity. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, a fun fact of here, looking at these short track stats too. Owen Mays, 37 starts on short tracks throughout his career here in CRS, and 37 top tens with 35 top fives. So that's
Yeah.
that right there tells the story of Owen on short tracks. I mean, we all know he's pretty damn good on those. So I expect him to be back and to be running really well and be contending for a win next week for sure.
Yeah, there's been 6 races, and it's really been a mixed bag over how many cautions we're gonna have. It's an average of 9 per race, but last season there was only 4. And when you think about last season, how close everybody was, you'd probably expect last season to have been one of the more higher up caution races. But since we've switched from the Xfinity car, there was a little bit more cautions, and then the Xfinity car races we had 6, 7, and 10 in
Yeah.
those. So yeah, it's just going to depend on how aggressive people are being, and with those different lines, the merging could come into play. But this season's been really unpredictable and hard to predict how they're going to go. I mean, even last night with Jack and Brandon kind of picking the wrong strategy based on them thinking there was going to be more cautions. You just never really know, and that makes them really unpredictable.
Yeah, and like another one I find interesting. So we've ran a lot longer races at Iowa in the past. This is going to be one of our shorter ones at 151 laps. Our first 3 Xfinity races that we ran 215, 216, 204. So
yeah.
I'm guessing those were both scheduled. The first 2 were scheduled at 215. It looks like the season 5 we may have gone to overtime, and then I'm guessing season 6 was 200 that we went to overtime. Interesting thing about our season 6 race. Only 6 cautions. We didn't have a single lead change in that race. Owen
Yeah.
led every lap. So that could be something to keep an eye on. And another
Interesting.
thing I'm looking at here is that our Xfinity Series track record. Judd, you hold the record currently, 23.833. We'll have to see if that's in jeopardy next week or not.
I'm gonna guess
we
it is.
will. We will have to keep an eye on that for sure. I'm trying to see if I announced whether this was going to be a night race or not. I forgot what my decision was on that.
I can pull that up here quickly.
Yeah, I'm looking through
This is
the
going to
announcements. I
be
know I
a day
announced it at some
race.
point.
This is a day
Okay.
race. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that'll make it more hot and slick and a little bit more tire wear, which I think is good for Iowa. So yeah, I think we have pretty much covered CRS. You guys got anything else?
Nah, man, I gotta bounce back next week. I gotta get a better
Yeah.
finish than 8th place. I gotta run well and finish it like I did at Dover. I gotta just finish strong.
Well, if you're running close
Yeah,
to
I just
Donnelly, he's typically up there at Iowa. Go ahead, Judd.
Yeah, well, that's what I do.
need to keep the momentum going.
Exactly.
Momentum is definitely a thing. Well, yeah, let's get into some NASCAR. Obviously no Cup race this week, but the trucks in Xfinity went to the Rock. Did you guys catch both of the races or just one? Or
I saw the Xfinity race. I did not see any of the truck race, unfortunately.
I got both of them in on the radio, so I don't have any visual references.
yeah, well, I watched.
I know the Xfinity race is really good.
It was. I watched most of the truck race and most of the Xfinity race. We will get a little tiny Fox rant here with the way the freaking truck race went. Like, I know there's a lot of discussion about people being at the track or not, and I think the CW has proven you can not be at the track and still do a really good job. Like the CW
Yes.
was not at the track, I don't believe, for Rockingham, and that broadcast was amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
they do a great job.
They've been knocking it out this year. They really have done a great job.
They've been so good. But the Fox broadcast, they were not at the track, and it was so bad. Like, the F1 practice 1 broadcast is better than that. Okay, the practice 1, the least important practice session, is a better broadcast than the Truck Series. I mean, I'm so sick of ranting about this.
They've caught a break for me the last couple weeks. I haven't
Yeah.
watched a Fox broadcast. They've gotten lucky.
And it's unfortunate for them because the Truck Series ones are usually particularly bad, but just they didn't even they forgot it was the last lap. Like they
I don't know how you do
they
that.
didn't call out the white flag. Well, they're not at the freaking track, and I guess they don't have the cameras, to accommodate for that. But
You would hope they have all these scoring monitors and shit, and like you should be able to see. You would think they're not just sitting around watching one TV, right? Like you would think that they
yeah,
would, at least have all kinds of scoring monitors and whatnot. I think that's the one thing the CW has, right? Like I think they have this awesome setup where the
Yeah.
guys have all this information at their hands and all these different camera angles and whatnot. And it makes you kind of wonder, like, what are they doing over there at Fox when they're not at the track, right? Like,
yeah,
are they just watching the broadcast like we are?
I think
Sometimes
so,
I think
because-
yes. Like,
yeah, because they miss Rex on a how big is Rockingham? Is it like a mile? I mean,
It's like
maybe
a
a little
little
bit
over a
shorter.
mile and a half.
They remeasured it. I think it's like 0.95,
Right.
0.94.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like we're at Daytona or Indianapolis or something. Like it's a small area. How do we miss Rex? And then
Yeah.
just calling out the wrong people's names, like it's just sloppy. One thing that was cool, Carson Hocevar was in the booth. I thought he did a really good job. I don't know if you caught any of that, but his insight was pretty good with him having driven the trucks so recently. So that was kind of the one saving grace of it. But he he could tell, you could tell he was like not super happy with how it was going, and he was doing play by play, like for most of the
Yeah.
race.
I mean, that's how it is when Logano's in there too. Like sometimes you can just
Yeah.
hear drivers' frustration, but like I'm almost like thankful when I see that Joey Logano's in the booth for the truck race because like at least I know that one person in the booth is competent because like
Yeah.
Joey's really good at that stuff. So like yeah, it's crazy to me sometimes that the driver who was supposed to be your your third man in the booth there is just
taking
is
the
the one
lead.
taking control.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just ugh. I will say props to the truck race though. I think that was like I feel like almost every race this season has ended under green, like on a
Yeah.
longer green flag run. I think this one did too. Like
Yeah, it
there's
did.
been a lot. It's
They're on a 20 race streak with that.
yeah, it's crazy
Wow.
to me to sit here and say that is to ask the question of like, is the Truck Series like cleaner than the Xfinity Series now? Because like the Xfinity Series finish kind of looked like something we'd see in the Truck Series a couple years ago, and
Yeah.
the Truck Series is the one finishing under green and having good clean finishes where. We're used to saying, "Oh, this back marker so and so, who's going to crash, who's going to ruin the finish?" What driver's going to go over their head and do something dumb? No, not in the Truck Series now. It's kind of like the Xfinity Series is taking that from the Truck Series.
Yeah, and the race overall with the Truck Series I thought was actually really good. Like you said, it ended on a long green flag run, and it turned into a fuel mileage situation. With Tyler Ankrum getting his, I believe that was his second win. Oh, and then yes, at the end of the race, he did his burnout and then drove to victory lane. He didn't wait for
I
the
love
interview.
it.
He didn't wait for the
Good.
interview. And Jamie
Well,
Little is having a
He drove
fucking
away from
aneurysm.
victory lane.
What's that?
He drove away from victory lane because victory lane's on the front stretch.
Oh, is it like in the infield?
Yeah.
Okay, well, in any case, he didn't do the finish line interview. And Jamie Little is having a fucking aneurysm about it. She's like, "Where is he going? We got to do our front stretch interview." Like,
He probably forgot. He hasn't won in so long. He's like, "Oh yeah,
whatever
Well, I
the
don't
I'm
think
supposed
they
to do
did
that."
it in the last one.
yeah, oh, maybe not.
Good point. Yeah.
Maybe not. Whatever the reason, I love it because he climbed out of the truck and they interviewed him, and it was great. And he got to celebrate with his team right away. And yeah, I'm just a big fan of that. I'm so sick of the victory lane or the finish line interviews, but for whatever reason, that's important. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah. Yeah. I think everybody knows that I've been on Team Victory Lane for quite some time
Yeah.
as one of the older NASCAR fans in the in our group. So yeah, I've always been big on Team Victory Lane interviews and old school. So I'm all for it. But yeah, I honestly, part of me thinks that he just forgot, and
Could
that's
have.
awesome because it turned out really well. But yeah, it was. But you know, I did see the clips of that of him, climb out of the car in victory lane, and like I love that, man. That's that's. I mean, I know they want the raw emotion when the drivers get out of the car right there and they're in front of the crowd and they get the crowd noise, they get the flag, yada yada, whatever. But like, there's just as much raw emotion when a driver wins, and then you get to see him drive to victory lane and then climb out for the first time. Like it's so much more pure to me, and it's not
Yeah.
like a forced, fake kind of. I don't want to say fake, but like a forced interview
It's forced.
on the front stretch. Yeah.
Right.
Whereas like if a
I think
driver
there's
wants to
more
get out and
emotion when you
cheer
give
and,
them.
and say what?
I think there's more emotion when you give them a second to collect their thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right.
For me,
You're
the
right. And
the
like, yeah, it's
parallel is like it would be like a walk-off home run in baseball, and instead of getting the shot where the guy's running around third, he's coming home, all his teammates are waiting for him at home, jumps on the plate, they're all taking their shirts off, spraying water everywhere and celebrating with each other because they just won
opposite
this
second
game.
base for an
Yeah,
interview.
you just got to stop at third base and give an interview before you go to your team. That's the parallel for me, and that just makes no sense. Like
Yeah.
these people have worked together, they kicked everybody's ass. Let them see each other and give each other a hug, and then they're going to be so much more hyped up, are they not? Like
Yeah.
in the interview.
Right.
It'd be like when Rory won the Masters if they just immediately walked out on the green after he made that putt and interviewed him rather than, give that time to take in the moment and let him take in the moment and whatnot. Like, that's your baseball one's a good parallel, and the golf is the first thing that came to mind too. Like, let's enjoy the moment. Like,
Yeah.
let's let the person celebrate. Give us some time where there's no commentary. It's just the raw celebration, and then we'll worry about the interview once the person gets done their celebration. So
Yeah, there's definitely a lot
but
of
hey,
things that we could change if we were in charge, but unfortunately,
Xfinity
we are
Series.
not
What'd you
yet.
think?
Yeah, Xfinity Series. Well, like I kind of said, great broadcast. I thought. It kind of turned into a little bit of a shit show. I was actually
Yeah, it was a
watching on
mess
my.
at the end,
I
but
was watching on my phone, and Julie and I were going to be. We were going to this wine festival thing, and I expected the race to be over like 30 minutes before we got there, but I'm like in the Uber watching this race and it just turning into kind of a shit show. But I'll let you guys go. What did y'all think about the race?
Judd, you go first. Oh, you caught it
Oh,
on the radio, but still, you had the
yeah.
MRN. I mean, that's good stuff, man.
I mean, that's always going to sound exciting, but it sounded like maybe there was a few lanes that they could use. Don't have to be right behind somebody in one lane.
Yeah,
Sound like they could
definitely.
get side by side,
Yeah,
even with the fresh asphalt.
there was definitely some good racing, which is kind of surprising for a repave, but um, it's just such a cool track. Like it's a high bank short track. It's kind of like it's probably like what they want this auto club pipe dream to be, sort of.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's such a cool racetrack, and I'm so glad they're back there.
I loved that the banks were so high that guys couldn't keep fuel in the receptor,
Yeah,
which still why is the thing on the right side of the car when all our tracks go left and bank to the left? I've
Well,
never
that's
understood that.
because when you're at speed, it all sloshes to the right.
yeah,
No, that makes sense. Yeah, but it was kind of interesting watching guys trying to swerve around and find a way to get fuel into that receptor. I know that like Ryan Sieg had a problem. There was some heartbreak because I
yeah,
really wanted Ryan Sieg to win that race. Just another race where I'm sitting there pulling for Ryan Sieg so hard and having to watch him, unfortunately, lose in some way that kind of out of his control or it sucks. And
yeah. Well,
I was
they
pulling
were
hard
in
for
a
Ryan Sieg there.
they were in a tough situation there, anyways, because
They were gonna be short.
yeah, I don't think they were gonna make it to the end, anyways. But he led a
Yeah,
lot of laps and looked like he was maybe in position there, but on
And
the
like on a couple
day,
restarts, he went out there and you're kind of
a
like,
good
oh,
bleed. Yeah.
like is he wearing his stuff out? Like, oh, how soon until he falls back? And then he really didn't on some of those runs.
Yeah.
He seemed to have some speed and manage it well. And there was a while there where him and Jesse Love were battling, and Sieg did a really good job to put Jesse in some really uncomfortable spots and not let that pass happen until a little bit later in the run when he did all he could, and then unfortunately he couldn't do much more. But for a while there, he did a really good job defending, leading, and holding his position and holding off a car that was obviously much better and cheating at the same time. So,
Yeah.
good on Ryan Sieg. I mean, God, his time's coming, man. He's going to win one here soon, and it's going to be really cool when he does.
Yeah. I mean that race at Texas last year, we were at the track, and he was a few inches away from from winning that one.
Oh,
Um,
devastating.
yeah. So he's definitely had some good runs on the day before we knew that the 2 car was illegal. I was kind of like, so we showed up at this wine thing, and I didn't get to watch the finish, and so I checked Twitter later to be like, oh, who won? And I saw that Jesse Love won, and I'm like, well, that's good because this race kind of was a shit show, and I felt like they had the best car, so
Mm-hmm.
the best car won the race. That's always, kind of a good thing, you think, but
With an asterisk next to it.
yeah, it ended up not working out. And then the second place car got disqualified too, right?
Oh, I don't
No.
know actually.
I thought Sammy Smith finished third. Do I have that wrong?
No, I think it was sadly a Sammy Smith win.
Okay. No, yeah, he ended up
Un-
winning on the disqualification, but I thought he crossed the line third.
Oh, I don't know. But yeah, it looks like the top 5 was Sammy Smith, Parker Retzlaff, Harrison Burton, Brennan Poole, and Taylor Gray. What a random top 5 that is.
Yeah, it is.
Good on Harrison, man. Just having a solid season, getting good finishes out of a
Yep.
car that was a mess in the past.
Yeah, he definitely needs it. But yeah, I think the Rockingham return was a success. Apparently, it was a great crowd.
Looked like it
Yeah,
for sure.
This was a poll on Twitter, and maybe it's obvious, maybe it's not. I don't know. It seems obvious to me, but would you want to see the Cup Series go there?
Yeah, I mean, I fear obviously the worst with how this car is on short tracks sometimes, but I feel like the track has a little more, like you said, a little more options with lane and whatnot. Obviously, the next gen car on repaves is a scary thought, where we might just have a parade around there. But
Yeah.
I think it could be interesting. I think it'd be a really hard track to pass lap traffic at. I think that would be
Yeah.
probably the most entertaining part of the race is once the leader gets around and has to pass lap traffic, they could really struggle because if those lanes aren't working, it's a crowded little track and it would be tough and definitely could be entertaining as far as the leader can't get by lapped cars, he's dealing with lap traffic, and everybody else is catching up to him. So, I don't see why not, but I think obviously you have some worries with how the next gen car races as to what that would actually look like.
Yeah, I mean, if they can fix some of these things um, with the next gen and maybe make it a little bit better, I think it'd be good. But I think just with the crowd that showed up and the nostalgia of Rockingham in general, I mean, it would probably be a pretty good race. Um,
Yeah, I think so too.
but they definitely, I
The-
mean, that would be one where they would have to do a test with like multiple cars, and if it does suck to pass, then I would say, let's do the option tire thing, because if that's
oh yeah, that's a good idea.
make it a better race, like I'm all for it. Maybe not in the championship race, I get that, but like that was the best Phoenix race we've seen ever, probably for me at least. So
Yeah, because of the option. Yeah,
yeah.
so
So if
I
we
don't
get
see why
like,
not, right?
imagine would this Bristol race have been as much of a snoozer if they had an option tire? Definitely not.
No.
I mean, that's just my opinion, but
I mean, it's kind of like a band-aid on the problems that the car has.
sure.
Unfortunately, the option tire, it's cool, it's entertaining, but when you look at the grand scheme of things, it really is just kind of a band-aid on something that's
Yeah, I
not
agree.
working really well. So, But hey, I mean, if this is all you got, and they're locked in on this car, and not and being stubborn and making changes, at least do something to make it somewhat interesting.
Yeah. Well, we obviously didn't have the Cup Series last week. You want to kind of go over the first little bit of this season for those guys?
I think it's been a good start to the season. We've had a couple multi-time winners with Bell and Larson winning a couple races. Obviously, Larson's dominance at Bristol left something to be desired for everybody, but
Yeah.
we come straight from dominance at Bristol to four wide mayhem at Talladega. So I'm always excited about Talladega weekend. I know the drivers don't like it as much sometimes, but I'm pumped because I love Talladega, and I think from what we've seen in the past, I think the drafting package has gotten a little better. I know that obviously the fuel saving everybody talks about, yada yada yada. Like it's just gonna happen. Like it is what it is. I'll take four wide fuel saving over single car laps around the middle lane.
Yeah.
You know, so his single file, should I say? Sorry, but at least at least it looks a lot cooler when cars are four wide, 7 rows deep than 40 single file ripping around the middle lane
Yeah.
to wear off fuel, where anyone that goes out to try and make a move just immediately gets shuffled to the back, and then no one tries anything for the next 60 laps. So
Yeah.
I also too I always like that in these fuel saving situations, you always have one guy who's just like, fuck it,
Screw it,
I'm not
yeah.
saving fuel. And then you have BJ McLeod leading a race, right? And it's just like, it's awesome. You love it when you get that kind of stuff. So I look forward to it, man. I think it's going to be a good race at Tega. But yeah, I think the first bit of the season has been pretty good. Not a lot of really bad races. Bristol kind of sucked. Martinsville kind of sucked. But that's, again, we talk about the short tracks. I think everything else has been pretty good so far. And they got a good stretch going forward with Dega, Texas, Kansas, and then the All-Star. So a good little 3-week stretch into the All-Star week.
We only have 4 more Fox races, and I'm not going to see 2 of them.
Hell yeah.
I'm going
And
to
one of
Texas
them's the
and
All-Star.
Kansas. Yeah.
Nice.
Oh man, that actually made me so happy. I didn't realize we were that close.
Well, fortunately, I'll be tuning in, so I'll be doing all the bitching about Fox going forward. Don't worry.
Sounds good. Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing about
Yeah,
it.
I'm here for it. Yep, that's
Um,
what my job is.
Yeah. The thing that's kind of I don't know if it's a concern for me, but um, we've had 5 winners this season. One of which was Josh Berry, which is a Penske car. Are we all in agreement with that?
Yeah,
And
basically.
then the other 4 are 2 Hendrick guys and 2 Joe Gibbs guys. I don't I like this the way it is with kind of your superstars, right? But
Mm-hmm.
the whole point of this thing was to increase parity, right? And
Yeah.
this is the
Hey,
opposite of that,
cream always rises to the top, man. The
yeah.
cream always rises. If you
So
look at the top 4 in points, it's been the 4 best drivers this year. So
yeah,
the 5th best driver sitting down there in 7th, and that's Ryan Blaney, which in my opinion he's been the best
yeah,
all year. So
and that's another Penske car.
um, yeah. So
So
um, I think if you look at the way the points are right now, it's, with the exception of Josh Berry, which, I mean, he's had a great season, don't get me wrong, but I would just kind of move him down a little bit. But you look
yeah,
at the top 10 in points, and it's all the guys who have performed really well this season. And I wouldn't put Berry outside of that. I would just put him a little closer to the bottom. I would just kick Logano out and move Berry down and
yeah,
shuffle all those guys up. Because then, after you get through our top 4, you're looking at Chase Elliott, who's just quietly been there and had a pretty good season. Ryan Blaney has been one of the best all season, just
a lot of
hasn't had
bad
the
blood.
results to back it up. His time's coming. You got the 2 2311 cars who have just been solid. Again,
Yeah,
another team that has good results or good runs and good races, just doesn't have the results to really back it up. And then you got Joey Logano, who is just, who knows? He'll probably win the championship for sure. But
probably.
yeah, but then and then when you start looking in that 10th to 16th range in the playoff bubble right now, it's very interesting. Bowman's in there, Chastain's in there, Chris Buescher's in there, 13th. Then you got Briscoe, Priest, and Kyle
Brian
Busch,
Priest.
who is he's 15th in points right now, or in the playoff standing, should I
Yeah.
say? and Kyle Busch 2 points ahead of Allmendinger in the playoff standings. So that 16th spot right now is a little interesting. Once you get past Allmendinger, you got a little bit of a gap to Stenhouse. So like right now, the top 17 guys are all pretty tight in the playoff points, and anything can happen going forward for sure.
Yeah, we've got we've got what is it, probably 15 or so more races until the playoffs start, and we only have 5 winners to now, so we could maybe get 5, 6, 7 more.
Yeah,
But we're gonna have a
I don't think
few.
it's going to be a crazy, 15-person winner season, but you
Yeah.
never know. I mean, anything can happen this week at Dega, which could just vault someone into the playoffs that shouldn't. Not that I say shouldn't, but wouldn't be there without the win. And you got some road courses. Obviously, we can take a look at our boy SVG there. He could find his way in. He's like 30 something in points right now, and he could find his way into the
34th.
playoffs. So yeah, so like you
Second to
never know.
last, or third to last of the full-time drivers.
Yeah, he's had a lot of bad breaks this
Yeah.
season. I mean, freaking put him back in a college car. He's probably running a lot better. That
Yeah.
car's not very good.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's anything could happen here. And if you take into account if we had a random winner this week, and then like an SVG or an Allmendinger. I mean, even though Dinger's right outside the points, so I'll leave it just at SVG. If you just add a random SVG win and a random Dega win, all of a sudden 2 of those playoff spots are gone, and now
Yeah.
things have really tightened up. So I can definitely see that happening, and making things interesting headed into the playoffs. You got what I mean. There's road course wise, you got the Mexico City race, you got Chicago Street Course, Sonoma, and Watkins Glen all happening before the playoffs. So
Yeah. Could be
a lot of
could be
possibilities.
chaotic for sure. Yeah. So you want to do picks for Dega?
So I just harped on a random winner. So
Yeah.
you want to do like a total random long shot, and then also like a like a legitimate pick, like who you think could
Well,
win, and then also
you can
just like
justify anybody as a legitimate pick,
yeah,
can't
you're
you?
right.
I mean,
Good point. That's a good point.
Pretty much.
I'll go
Yeah.
first because mine. I don't think you guys have. You guys either have this guy. So I get texts from Joe Gibbs Racing from like their like promotional thing, and they texted today because they announced the All-Star thing, and they texted you can vote 5 times a day to vote Ty Gibbs in to the All-Star. So they've already written him. They're like, this guy's not gonna win, which is hilarious to me. They're already saying like he's in the open, he's not winning. So when I got that text, I was like, man, how funny would it be if he goes out and wins Talladega?
Wow.
So I don't think he has a super. Did he win Daytona in the Xfinity Series once? Maybe. He won the road course, but
I don't know that he does have a.
super
I don't know
speedway
if he
win.
does have a win.
Maybe
I don't know.
not, but that's gonna be my pick. He's sat at 20th in the points right now, 29 points below the cut line, which is actually pretty remarkable because I feel like they've been just pretty dog shit overall throughout the season, but somehow they're in 20th. So, yeah, I'm gonna go with another Joe Gibbs win. I think it's pretty bold to pick a Toyota on super speedways, but yeah, I'll go with
Yeah,
Ty
just
Gibbs.
avoid the wrecks and be in the right spot.
Yeah.
Tyler Reddick showed us
All you
that
gotta
last
do.
year. So,
All you got to do. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Ty Gibbs.
Judd, what you got?
I'm gonna pick Ross Chastain.
Ooh, okay.
Going against my
I feel
preseason
like
pick.
yeah, I don't know. I feel like he can just sneak one.
Yeah,
Just snooker him.
He did that in 2022, I believe it was.
Yeah, either him or like a Suarez are kind of guys who seem to sneak those, and I wouldn't be surprised by that one bit. Mine is I keep talking wild card, so I'll stay true to what I've been preaching. I think Todd Gilliland's going to win the race.
Ooh.
Front row's pretty damn good on the super speedways, which makes me think that he'll get a really good qualifying
Yeah, they might get the
spot.
pole, honestly.
Yeah, so he might go out and get pole, and then just kind of just it's been proven that if you can just stay up front in these and avoid the wrecks, you can kind of find your way to stay up there up front and get a good finish. He's had a lot of good finishes at super speedways. He's a good plate racer, and front row knows what they're doing out there. So yeah, I'll take Todd Gilliland. He's had a quietly good season so far. I'll take him to win it at Daytona and throw a wrench into the playoffs.
Well, there you go. Our 3 picks: Ty Gibbs, Todd Gilliland, and Ross Chastain. Wouldn't you love to have dinner with those 3?
I'll take just Todd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Ross would be
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, and Ty would just be ordering chicken nuggets and
Probably.
French fries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Hoping there's ketchup on the table.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ty Gibbs gives me the vibes of a guy who like puts his ketchup all over the fries rather than like
Right.
dipping them like a
Right.
psychopath. Yeah,
Right.
I get that energy from Ty Gibbs and I don't like it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think we pretty much covered all our bases here. You guys got anything else for NASCAR?
No, I don't. Do you guys? I mean, can we all agree that Austin Hill is probably going to find a way to win the Talladega race in the Xfinity Series?
Probably.
That'd be actually a surprise because I don't think he's won there in the Xfinity Series.
Oh well,
Has he not?
yeah, I have no doubt in my
he-
mind. Then I think he's done all his winning at Daytona. I believe. Yeah, I think Judd's right.
Interesting. Yeah, Daytona and Atlanta, right?
Yeah,
I'm just trying to see if I can quickly pull that up.
he'll find a way, and then their car will be illegal, and he'll get disqualified, and then like Sammy Smith will get another win or some shit probably.
Yeah, probably. Well, yeah, I think we can probably wrap it up there, boys. Good episode.
Good stuff.
Covered pretty
Yeah.
much everything. Yeah. So
Judd, thank you for joining us. Always a pleasure.
Oh, no problem.
yeah, thanks a lot, Judd. We'll
I'm
hope to.
joining you from the Chipotle parking lot.
Oh, there you go. I didn't even know
Representing
y'all
my
had
sponsor. I
Chipotles up
love it.
there.
I came up with something at the end of my angry interview. Out of pure rage, I just made it up on the spot, which is Chipotle. They make big bowls and they do fat rolls. So, that's the new thing I'm preaching for Chipotle. I think I'm going to sell that to them. See if they want to take that from me.
Big bowls and fat rolls. What does that even mean?
They got the big burrito bowls and the big fat burrito rolls. You know what I mean? Big bowls, fat rolls, baby.
Okay.
The guy in front of me had one of the fat rolls.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's definitely a good place to end. Thank you guys for listening. Hope you enjoyed.
Shout out Chipotle.
Shout out Chipotle, my favorite restaurant in the world
Me
for
too.
sure. Yeah, hopefully we can get them to sponsor the show one day. But hit the like button on YouTube, follow the podcast on Spotify, leave a comment, leave a review, all that good stuff. And we'll talk to you guys next week. See you.
See ya.